Hello, my name is Jerry Story. I'm a part of AFK Games, and our game is called Cryptid. For this sprint, we really wanted to make a nice playthrough for the player where they can go from level to level and it feels like a game. So rather than what it was before, where we basically just had levels as showcases for mechanics, um, this change, as you can see on my Jira tasks, are things like adding in levels that also showcase the mechanic, or at least use the IPM method of introducing the mechanic, having them practice it, and then having them master it later. So I have, as one of my levels, the introduction of a alarm mechanic. Along with the introduction and practice and mastery of the keypad and a practice slash master of the Simon Says puzzle. Part of this month, I also went back and fixed up a lot of the code, as there were some issues as we've added new things and changed a few things around. So I did a final brush up of all the code for anything used in these levels, specifically the alarm, keypad, Simon Says, something that I made in month one, which was the keys and the key door. I'm going to go ahead and open up the game and start showing off the levels and the way they work. So the first level that I'm going to show is the alarm mechanic. Here I wanted to have the AI kind of locked away, just to showcase the mechanic to the player and kind of introduce them to an alarm, or the alarm rather, and basically then have them practice it in the level, showing them different ways to use it and if there's any traps or anything that they could use it with. So I'm going to turn off the sound volumes, this way it's really easy to hear me. So my levels are 6, 7, and 13. I'm going to go ahead and show you level 6 first, which is the alarm level. So, like I said, part of the completion criteria was having this AI here locked in this room. I'm going to go ahead and wait. You'll see his pathing. He's going to go down, down, right about here, and then he's going to turn around. That's his patrol pathing. I'm going to get all my moves back, so this way it's a lot easier to show you. Now that that button's red, this alarm is now red. It was black before. I can show you as soon as he goes back. Turns around. He's now going to go to that alarm. Now that he sensed it, he sees already gone past. He's going to overlap with the tile, turn it off, and now it's back to black. Really hard to see in that corner. So here's the locked part. Up here, you're going to see the key cards. These were part of the things that I changed. This was something I made during month one. I thought it was really important in the core gameplay loop that you had to go collect something to open a door. Just this way it makes everything a little more difficult, and it makes it more interesting, and you kind of have a reason to explore around. It's, in my mind, it's always better to pick something up beforehand before I get to the door, through exploration, than having to backtrack my way through anything. But just pick up the key, and now I'm gonna set off the alarm. The alarm is in the top left. So this guy is actually getting stunned currently from this shoot tile. So he's not gonna move towards it, as he's basically losing his turn every time. This AI is gonna see me, and they're gonna swap off once he gets stunned. So now that he's stunned, this guy's gonna get his turn back and start walking up. He's gonna walk over and to the alarm. I'm gonna pick up this key that he was basically guarding. He's stunned currently as well, because the spike trap's done. which is something you find out earlier on in the game. He's going to go back and walk on the spike again. I'm going to go ahead and go through this. And there's a cherry here in case you took damage from the shoot tile. And early on when you went into the room, you'll see this light here, or this button rather. So you know somewhere there's an alarm. You can wait and see where it is, and then you can press it. Before this guy turns around, I want to make sure that he's not going to see me. So I'm going to press it, grab this real quick, and as it stands, he's currently stunned. He's going to get unstunned and then turn off the alarm. And I'm going to leave before he even notices. So the alarm mechanic is really helpful, and I kind of wanted to show that it meshes well with like stuns and stuff that you can like bring the AI into. I'm going to go ahead and return to the main menu and showcase the second level, which is the keypad. So this keypad, I wanted a completely safe space for the player to learn how to use it first, figure out how it works, enter clear, enter in wrong codes if they feel like it, you know, basically test the mechanic. And then throughout the level, I want them to get points and stuff, basically play through a regular level. And then at the very end, I want a keypad that has people patrolling over the specific areas you need to get to. So this way you get a feel of like what it's supposed to be like. So this was also something that I had to fix. Originally, the keypad was something that was on a wall you'd walk up to, and you could enter in a code through a widget. Basically, you would like click. This is much more fun for the player, mostly because instead of walking up to a wall and having something pop up on your screen, you have to walk around the level. Sometimes you have to explore. It just meshes so much better with the game, and ultimately is a much more fun experience for the player. But one of the issues I had with this was the way I did it, had it set up. Basically, an integer increases, and that is the numbers place. So if you could imagine, each of those numbers is the first number on the left, and then a separate number to its right, and then so on and so forth. They're all individual numbers, and I was not resetting the integers, so it was just you'd enter the wrong code, and now none of this would work. But now I enter the wrong code, and it fills up the exact same with the correct code. Clear was also the same way. However, I fixed that as well. Basically, I just set it up so clear would completely reset everything. And I entered the wrong code. And so then I set enter to basically just clear for the computer. So everything works so much better now. It's much better for the player. So this way, if you mess up once, you're not stuck and have to restart the level. You can mess up as many times as you want/need. I'm gonna have this guy walk past real quick, and then I'm gonna go up. In this level, I really wanted the vent system to shine as not just like a mode of transportation, but also like how useful it is for hiding and getting around the AI. So there's two areas here with points that the player can collect. And so now if I go across, he's standing on top of the vent, but he can't actually see me and he won't chase me. Like if I had my turn here, he won't chase me. It was just the fact that I was on top of him. And if I go up here, I can grab that. This AI is going to patrol over the other one. Get down. And I can get across. Again, he's on top of the vents. He's going to go past me. A second. Yep. Collect the points. And go up. So I'm just out of range of this guy. He's gonna see me right at the end. I'm gonna get up here and play a little bit of Rosie. He's gonna go back to patrol. Okay. So here, as you can see, the AI are patrolling over the numbers pretty maliciously almost. They have a really simple path, so the player can easily avoid them. There's 2 different spots that they can detect you, specifically when you're over the number, and in these pretty large gaps, like right here. I was at a 90, so he lost vision of me. So then I can just grab this one. And now the last 2 are in the middle, which can be seen here, as you saw earlier. And then, obviously, if the other guy over here on the left was standing at the northern side of me, he could also see me. But this way, it's not too dangerous. It can be spotted, and it could end up bad, but ultimately, you're still in a pretty safe environment. So for the last level, I have Simon Says. Simon Says, basically, this one was just for practice / mastery, as this was actually introduced earlier on in the game, outside, level 13. So here, we start off with the keypad. Again, we're building on top of each other. There's also an alarm here that this guy's gonna now go turn off that I press the button. He has 1 nav point. He's gonna come here and basically watch you if you come out. I'm gonna go and press the button, and then it's gonna turn around, and then turn back. He sees me, but I'm gonna go back into hiding, and he's gonna sit there and watch. I'm gonna activate this alarm over here for this AI, and now he's gonna go check out that alarm. He has no nav points, so he's actually just gonna stand there. For basically ever. The point of that was to kind of show like the other way of like how certain guards might not always have a patrol. And now that all numbers are entered, oh, I must not have entered all the 4s. So I'm gonna enter the 2s, come back, 4, 4, enter. Since I got him pathing the other way, I can actually just slip right past him. Make sure his buddy's not coming down, because this guard does come down this way, just to make it a little tricky for the player. You have 2 keys here. Part of the changes that I made was there was a problem where if you didn't have the exact number of keys required for a certain door, it would make it so you couldn't open the door. So like, let's say the door required you to have 2 keys and you had 3, you couldn't open the door, even though you had more than enough, as these doors are number requirements, not specific key requirements. So I'm gonna have him walk down, walk back up. So a normal player wouldn't know that it's better to go through the left door first. I stepped on top of him. But since I made the level, I know you have to go to the left door first, and then you come upon Simon Says. So basically, the reason why this one's more difficult is this guy patrols outside pretty frequently, so you can't actually be standing in the door. He will come in here if he sees you. And the second thing is like, you have to get back out and around to that green door. They're not right next to each other. Yellow, blue, yellow. And now here comes the most difficult part. So we start off with blue, red, blue, bread, I think. So that one is really fast, and also has a lot of notes. So now the player doesn't know, but they'd have to go back to the start again. But now the door has opened rather than the notes playing again. He's going to turn and go down that hallway, and I'm going to go ahead and run right past him and escape right behind his back. And that's the third level. So part of the game that I had to do, again, was the mechanics along with the keypad. So the levels, the alarm one took a specifically long time due to the tile maps. It was the first time of me trying to make multiple tile maps, and getting all of the neighbors correct took a long time, along with trying to set up the rooms so there was a space for you to learn, and there's a space where I didn't want too many traps where the player was going to get stuck and killed by the AI or have a chance to get killed. So it took a long time to get the basics down first, and then took an even longer time. But after the first time, obviously it got a little faster. I only had one overlogged hour essentially for the keypad puzzle. The biggest issue here was basically setting up the codes and everything, making sure the code was right for the keypad. That all, even though it's not logged in here, it was a part of the total time of the level. I did not count it twice, but it definitely made it feel longer. Rather than being like a day or two thing, it became like 3. And then the last one went a lot better with Simon Says. Everything was kind of finished for that level, and so everything was easy to put together really quickly. I also obviously did the collectible, which took way less time than I thought it was going to take. The collectible, specifically the key card, was an easy fix of just changing the color and making the key itself quite a bit bigger than it already was. Simon Says also took a little bit of code to fix. So first off, there was an increment. I had a de-increment for the difficulty every time you lost. First off, that wasn't fun. Every time you lost, you basically went down a level. And that just didn't make any sense to have. And then there was also a problem of getting the door, or the notes to stop and then the door to open, which took a little while to figure out. As I coded this in like early month 2, maybe early month 1, late month 1. So it was a while since I've been in there. Luckily, I had commented everything and was able to pick everything back up pretty quick. But that's what I've done for this sprint. Thank you very much for watching.
Hi instructor, my name is Dominic Woods, and today I'm going to be showcasing to you our level in Unreal Engine. I'm sorry, not our level, our game in Unreal Engine, excuse me. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, Cryptid version 0.33, and I'm going to go ahead and open this file. Go ahead and skip this. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go back over to our Jira, and here you can see everything I did. This is all the stuff I was working on. If I go over to the, actually it's part of the collaboration, but this is all the stuff I worked on. And as I go through it, we're going to go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and, mark this off, tell you how much time I did on the level or on the items, what I completed, what I wasn't able to. So starting off, we're looking at fixing and creating animation. Animations, every animation you're going to see in this game took me roughly around 4 hours each. So we're actually going to start off with fixing player walking, because that is a bug that I had, and it is actually going to be the one you're going to see immediately. So let's go ahead and, let me go ahead and show you how long it took me. So player walking took me about 3 hours and 2 minutes. So how does it tie into level? As a player, I want to see the character physically walk independently and not glide across the map. This would better my chances of staying interested in the story and the game I am playing. If the character cannot walk and begins sliding, I will lose interest and immediately not want to finish the game. This is a simple yet an important task to keep players interested in any game. This is a bug report. So the summary: the players should play a walking animation with the legs functioning correctly. Expect results. Players should be able to look like they are walking and facing the correct positions when moving. Actual result: players are just sliding across the map and they're just moving their shoulders, but they're not actually moving their legs. Steps to replicate: start the game, go to any level, attempt to walk to any tile, and the player and the player will begin to glide. And then the severity of the bug was low. Here, this is just an image of what I started doing. So you can see I actually went into a sequencer and started creating custom animations. I did this for every animation you're going to see in the game, whether it was for the enemy or the player. So we're going to go here. I'm going to take you to one of my levels. So I actually I worked on 5 different levels, but for right now, I'm just going to show you the simple ones. So we're going to go to level 4. Alrighty, off the bat, this is level 4. And I will actually just go ahead, not turn off my computer. I will go ahead and show you how the animation looks. This is the practice for Fog of War. This took me almost 5 hours to complete. So I'm going to show you 3 things. I'm so sorry. But 3 things. This is a practice Fog of War. As a player, I want the level that helps me build my Fog of War skills. For this level, players should spawn in a hub room and will be able to traverse to 4 different sides of the room to gain 1 piece of the code. A fifth code which will contain a clue as to the order the pieces need to typed in. Players may use this as a free camera to look around for each room and piece the puzzle together. This is Riley Johnson's mechanic. I actually built the level for him as he was working on other stuff for our code. So let's go ahead and take a look. So you can see the walking animation. The shadow right here is a little hard to see. Oh, and I just completely blocked your path. So you can see the legs right here moving. His arms go up and down. I'm going to go ahead and show you what the death animation looks like. So you can see, since we have that as well. So death animation, anytime a player takes damage. I'm going to go ahead up here. As a player, I want to identify when the character is in danger and when they are considered dead. And incorporating a player death animation would help the player understand when their character has died and what the causes were. Whether the character was caught by our enemy or killed by a trap, an animation should help them immediately identify the cause of their death. So you can play this animation whether you if I go like this, it should play multiple times. But I'm going to show you this because this is a faster and more simple way. I'm going to let this enemy capture me. And you're going to actually see him do an attack animation. Again, this is a custom animation I made. So he just swings at you multiple times. And the character actually dies. So next, I'm going to go ahead and actually complete the level since this was part of my task. This level took me almost, and I think I just mentioned it. We can actually go ahead and look so that way I can let you know. This level took me about 5 hours to complete, just because there was a lot of bugs and issues that we ran into. Number one being that since this is a turn-based game and we're using tiles to move around, the character, the character and the tiles and neighbors they were not connecting to the right parts. So you actually had to go in there and I had to manually enter them in. And that actually caused a lot of issues for us as a team, just because I had to go into every single level I created, which was 5 of them, and had to fix those neighbors. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. Oh, I didn't mean to press that button. There we go. So it looks like he doesn't see me. He's going to see me if I pass by him, and if I take damage, yeah, see? I'm not typing fast enough. There we go. That's another custom animation I did. End my turn. Oh, he might kill me right here. Yep. Ooh, I'm not typing fast enough. Let's go. Hopefully he doesn't turn around. Oh, he turned around. Okay, well, you're going to see me get killed again. I am not the best player for my game. But I'll go ahead and do that one more time just so you can get a look at what the game looks like. We're going to take a different path this time. Again, I am not the best player, so if I get quiet, I'm trying to concentrate. You know, I'm trying to prove to you that I'm a good player. Let's see, let's go. So we're gonna go this path, let's take a different direction. You can see I'm taking damage from all these traps. I didn't grab it. My bad. You know what? Yes, I won my turn. I didn't mean to end it so early, but... Oh, I did not even hit him. Shoot, I should have gone that way. I didn't think about that. It's okay. I am going to... Oh, I turned invisible. I didn't even do that. You know what? I'm going to keep the invisibility on for a second. So... cute. We're going to stop. And I'm just going to have my turn right there, and I'm going to go ahead. Oh boy, this might kill me. You know what? No, I'm going to play this a little smart. So there is one more key in this level, so I am nowhere near being done, so I'm not out of the danger yet. 2, 3, and we're gonna avoid this trap and see the enemy is gonna chase us. I'm gonna get out of his line of sight. I have half health. Even though these are just this specifically is just an introduction level, I made it hard on purpose because with the Fog of War, it's gonna be even harder to see your surroundings, basically. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead. Oh, there's a issue right there. I will fix that later. So we're going to take the long way around. Get out of his peripheral, excuse me. That's okay. This is going to show you all the paths you can take as a player to avoid danger. I don't want him to see me. So I'm just gonna... You know what? We're gonna enter turn one more time. And I think I will be good. Yep, he doesn't see me yet. And I did it, so I didn't complete all the tasks in this level, but that's okay. Go ahead and end my turn, and we're gonna move on. So, another thing I can show you, so going back to actually our task real quick. So I just showed you the practice Fog of War, so that's our intro level. I showed you the player death animation, and I showed you the fixing and player walking animation. That was our bug report. Next, I'm going to show you this right here. This is our controls. We didn't write a user story for this. I apologize. But here, when the players go to their control menu or the main menu, you can actually gain access to this. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that. This took me about an hour to make. It wasn't too difficult. But we're going to go to options. I'm going to go to controls. And here, controls, you have the pause. It shows you all the different abilities. I press R, excuse me, there's a fly in here and I almost got in my face. You press R right here and the player actually turns invisible. That's why I was like, oh, I turned invisible. It shocked me for a second. But yeah, you can see all the different controls you have there. And even if I go to one of my other levels, and we're going to go ahead over to, which ones are mine? I just want to make sure I am giving you the correct levels. Well, let's look over here. So we have the practice level, and then removing bad levels, and then we have a create a lab level, and then the mastery. So let's talk about this real quick. This took us, this was an hour meeting that the entire team had. We originally estimated it to be at 2 hours, but everyone in the team sat down, talked for an hour about what we wanted to keep from previous levels that we made versus what we didn't want to keep. We ended up keeping 2 of my levels, which one of them acts as a practice, and 2 of them act as a intro to another practice. And I actually accidentally dropped the images in the wrong area. So this one right here, this is the level we ended up keeping. And then I created a library level, which I could show you later. But let's go ahead and jump into our keeping on track with the Fog of War. You know what? Let's go ahead and head into the lab level. That will be easier to show you. And if I'm not mistaken, lab is level 11. Or I can just show you the mastery level. So this is what the Fog of War looks like in Riley Johnson's for Riley Johnson's mechanic. So you can only see like a small radius right here. So you can partially see an enemy right here. And if you look really closely, that little light right there, that's another enemy. I can't see anything else. I'm going to go ahead and show you the controls. So again, you can access this through the main menu or the pause option, the pause menu. So I'm going to exit out, resume, and let's go ahead and just play the game. And as you can see, as I move, the Fog of War moves with me. So boop, boop, and I'm going to get out of enemy's line of sight. And since I know how to beat this level, since I created it, I'm going to go ahead and, use my level designer brain to get out of here. Oh, I forgot about that. There is an enemy right there, so I'm going to closer to this wall so he doesn't see me. Oh, he looks like he got stunned. I'm going to stun him one more time. I could go either way. Oh, but he does see me right there, so I'm actually just going to run a little bit. He's still stunned. I don't know if I have enough movement. I do. Just enough. I'm going to end my turn. So, as you're going through these levels, again, because this is Fog of War, you want to just be able to... You want to know where you're going. So, if like, for example, this right here, I made this purposely in the middle because the players can see almost everything. If I move around, I'm going to be able to see, hey, look at, there's an exit. There's some keys around here. These vents are possibly going to lead me to different locations. So stuff like that. And again, because you are wanting to stay away from all the traps. And yes, I possibly messed up. Oh, yeah, I definitely messed up. I'm gonna back up. Oh. We're gonna go back to the vent so I don't get caught. And that kind of sucks. I just ate one of my healing orbs, but you know what? Live and learn. Oh, almost got caught. Oh no, he's gonna see me. You know what? And I'm gonna have to... Oh, he's stunned, so he actually won't come get me. I'm gonna grab this key right here since it is so close. And you know what? I want to make sure that the enemy won't see me. Oh, shoot. You know what? I stunned him. Oh, 3. Come on. Faster, faster. So, after you collect all the keys, now you have to figure out how I'm going to get to that exit, And you notice that the exit, when I showed you in that center corridor right here, the center area, that the what's it called? The exit was actually blocked off by a wall. If I can get a little bit closer without being seen, I'll show you. So yeah, you can see right there, it is blocked off by a wall, so I'm gonna have to find my way around. So if I remember correctly, there's a vent right here. I'm like, hey, I finally got all my keys. I'm back where I was originally intended to be. There is some healing right here, but I don't need it. I did just take some damage, but that's okay. And then I'm gonna actually heal full health, vent over to this last location, and win the game. So that's how you beat that level. Moving back over to here, so creating the lab level this is the wrong one. I'm so sorry. Creating the Fog of War Mastery level took me roughly around 2 hours and 58 minutes, almost 3 hours. Excuse me again. The key commands took me about an hour to create. And then when we go over here, and I don't think I mentioned it, but the animations, again, they each respectively took me 2 to 4 hours. So this right here, the player death animation, took me about 2 hours and 13 minutes. This took me about 3 hours and 2 minutes to create. And we're moving bad levels. We removed all the bad levels we didn't want to keep, so they're not in our actual game. So that's why even though there's like 13, each of us still had to create IPMs for every level. But moving on, I'm going to show you right here. This is my creating a lab level. So this is about 4 hours and 2 minutes. So as a player, I want levels that make sense of the story being told in the game. I want to understand the lore even without a cinematic or narrative explaining the importance of our actions. I love level that showcase this to me and help me with better understanding the world I find myself traversing is what I want to experience as a player. Removing levels that are narratively make no sense to what we are trying to accomplish in the game should be a requirement to help us achieve our ultimate goal for our game. So, description, level design. We should have multiple levels that depict where the player is located and helps them understand the story of our game. A laboratory level that showcases multiple creatures or testing tubes that represent these creatures being created. A library that hunters will research the creatures they are hunting. Each level should be used to represent the story of our game. Players will traverse each room to find secret rooms and mini games inside them, which as you can see, I added that inside the Fog of War. That is a little bit of a mini game because you have to figure out which event leads to where, how do I get back to where I need to get, and what do I need to do to actually get into the exit room. And then levels that will have a unique look to them, to each room, to different are levels from one another. So every level you see is going to be unique, have its own structure, look different. Design philosophies, a map that represents a laboratory. Players should be able to distinguish the difference between each level. Levels that have different assets from other levels in original design. Points of interest, I want a level that represents a laboratory. I want a map that players help distinguish. So this is like the same information right here. And then completion criteria. Players should be able to complete the level in 2 to 3 minutes. A map that has all the neighbors in the correct positions. Players have to practice the key mechanics at different levels in order to understand the IPM. Enemies that traverse different locations on the map, and then players can unlock doors with keys. So here are some images that show you like, hey, this is like the progress I made. So starting off, it was just because this is a tile-based game, I had to go ahead and individually connect each of these neighbors to all these tiles. So if I chose a 20 by 20, there was potentially, as you can see here, 900 different tiles. That's why this really took me so long. And especially since in this lab level, I made about 4 different rooms, and this is only this is the beginning process. This is about an hour or 2 hours into this, and then this is the closest to the end. The actual end, again, I put it in the wrong area. It's right over here. This is what the end product looked like. It was a little bit of a hassle. Test tubes were created. I wanted to make sure all the neighbors were connected. And so let me go ahead and show you this. This again took me, where is it? This took me about 4 hours and 2 minutes to complete. So I'm going to go over here. We're going to go over to the next level. I believe level 14 is the lab level. Yep, here we are. So this is the lab level. Characters are going to make their way through. You can try to open this door right over here. But because you don't have all the keys, it's going to display need more keys. I'm going to end my turn. Oop, didn't mean to turn about face.
Oh.
And I got this right here to give me a little bit of extra movement. So the good and bad brains, the way the mechanic works, good brain, which is these pink ones, will give me an extra movement. Bad brains will immediately stun me and actually display a image meant to act as a jump scare and deal damage to me. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to stun this enemy. And I'm going to go ahead, since this area is a little blocked off, and go around him. And I noticed there was a vent, and I thought I had just enough space to avoid him, but I guess not. So I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to vent over to a new location, and you can see I actually, right here, if you had noticed in the beginning, I looked over here, there's these good and bad brains right here. So, I'm going to go ahead and collect this key. And I'm actually going to eat this healing orb right here. I'm going to show you how to actually escape. So now we're going to try to avoid all the bad brains, because now I know some of these vents lead me to bad brains. Okay, well, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go right back here, and you know what? I see the enemy coming, so I'm just going to end my turn. Hidden behind this door. Okay, and you know what? I'm going to get this good brain. It just gave me just enough movement to get behind this wall. He does see me. Oh, try to avoid him as best as I can. I think, if I'm not mistaken, in my own level, I can escape, so I'm going to shoot him. End my turn. Hopefully the enemy just turns around and doesn't see me. I'm going to shoot him again. Yes. Okay. Oh, I underestimated how close he was. Ah! Oh no! I think this one's going to get me too. So let's just... Yep. And see, this is the difficulty of this level, because you have all these enemies, and you can go either way. There's 2 doors on either side. Players are going to get attacked. And I can see... Perfect. I have just enough room, and that and that good brain gave me just enough movement to make it to the end. You can see, though, I did not complete the level with full health, so obviously I failed. But let's go ahead and double check. I want to make sure I'm still recording. I am. Awesome. So, I showed you player death animation. I showed you practice. I did not show you practice level good and bad brain. This actually should be a different title. These should be levels that were kept from previous milestones. We have creating a lab level. So that's the level I just showed you. Removing bad levels again. This was a meeting me and my team had. We all discussed what levels we wanted to keep, what levels we didn't want to keep, and we made votes. Practice, Fog of War. These are the levels I made for Riley Johnson for his mechanic. So right here, this was the first one I did that I showcased to you, the death animation, the walking animation, and how the Fog of War potentially could work. Mastery level had the Fog of War inside of it, and then you actually had to solve the puzzle to try to survive and complete each level. Next, I had fixing player walking animation. Again, before it was just sliding, this was a bug, so we went around. I fixed the way his legs move, so instead of him sliding, he actually has a little bit of leg movement, and he flaps his wings like a chicken because he is meant to be a chicken person. And then keyboard controls, we showed that to you. I went ahead and opened up the pause menu and showed you in the main menu how to use this. So these tasks right here that weren't completed, we have the enemy AI idle animation. I did not add this. I have an idle animation created for this, but because I ran out of time and there is no real way for me to showcasing to you how this works, I didn't add any images, and I didn't add it into the my overall, my finished product, basically. Next, we have this checkpoint. Where is it? Right here, these checkpoints. So we actually, as a team, the checkpoints in each level will serve as a respawn point that changes based on whether the player has reached it or not. We wanted to go ahead and do this as a team, but we underestimated how difficult creating a checkpoint is, especially in a tile-based system, because if a player dies, say, halfway through my laboratory level, for example, they're not going to respawn to a random part in the level. We have to figure out a way for it to respawn back onto a tiles because we created this as a tiled game. So that's kind of the thing that we decided, hey, let's push this back to the next sprint because this is going to take us a lot of time. Because I believe each one of these is roughly around 3 hours each, and we just didn't have enough time to do this, especially with my work schedule. Optimizing good and bad brain. This was just to see if we can make our mechanics individually better. I believe everyone on our team has something like this on each of their mechanics. I opted to leave my mechanics alone. I didn't want to mess with it. Just because I wanted to focus more on my levels and see what I could do. They were meant to be 4 hours each. Fixing enemy stun. I actually had messaged you about this, instructor, but I don't think you saw it on FSO. I needed help setting up a montage for the character to actually, the enemy specifically, to play different animations when he's hurt, and for him to stay in a specific animation after being hurt. So that's I decided not to add this. This is actually it would be a severe versus a medium. So let's go ahead and I'm so sorry. Let's go ahead and look at dashboard. So instead of, I wasn't able to do a total of 32 hours. I could only do 24. I have a very limited schedule, so I could only give you 24 hours this sprint. I apologize that, but I was able to complete a majority of our tasks that the team had set up, and we all were able to work together, and it came out pretty nice. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I covered everything. This is our game, Cryptid. I look forward to your feedback. My name is Dominic Woods. One more time. Thank you.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
Hello, my name is Elliot Klassen. I'll be doing the sprint review for our sprint 1. I'm going to go ahead and go over my Jira tasks, and then I'll follow through with a playthrough of our most recent build here. And our most recent build is Cryptid version 0.33, and that's this one right here. So, essentially, my tasks primarily were getting all 3 of my levels completed, and that is the introduction for invisibility, the practice, and the mastery. So, it's those 3 as well as the main menu overhaul, and for the majority, I was able to complete my tasks, specifically the ones named as the player. I would like the overall aesthetic of the menus to match throughout the game and add sounds if needed. And then as another one, as the player, I would like a sound indicating the volume increase within the sound settings. So I'm gonna go ahead and show that here. Just to give a quick heads up, for whatever reason we have a bug currently in the game where the Unreal Engine logo doesn't appear. It'll be a bright flash, and that'll come up right here. It's supposed to be the Unreal Engine logo. It plays a sound effect and everything. Right before this build, I checked on it and pushed it through, but for whatever reason, it didn't fall through. So this is our game name. It loads for a second and then pops in, and this is just the theme of the game. Because it's a horror themed game, I really wanted to get that aesthetic and have you kind of have the idea like, well, what am I playing? Is it like, I don't want the player to enter the game thinking this is just a super colorful game. At least have a horror element to it if it's not generally scary. So I changed the sound effect from the splash screen when it came to our team logo, the AFK Games. Originally it was like metal clanking and fire in the background. It was supposed to be like we're working on it, like we're making swords or whatever, like a blacksmith. I changed it to like a motorcycle sound effect, changed the widget so that it kind of increases in opacity and then cuts out when the motorcycle passes through. So that was timed. The Unreal Engine logo, I had looked at a couple. I found a video online that was free for me to use, and I extracted the video, put it in as a widget, and added the sound effect separately because that was a whole issue with that. Our logo for the game name originally was in this main menu, but I took a look at several different video games, and I saw that most video games don't have their game name in the main menu. They have it maybe behind it or like before it, and then there's like it's like a little mini menu where it says press any key, and you just see the name of that there, and then you enter the main menu. So I decided that I was going to take it out of here, put it back in a previous screen. I'm looking to implement a skip button so that you can just move past that using any key, and I'll put that in there for a later sprint. Moving on, so the overall color that we were using previously was maybe like a baby blue and a purple. That didn't match to me when it came to like a horror theme. This is kind of like a khaki greenish kind of color. It matches with the color of the trees and the night vision of this video. I paused it and used that color for the buttons. This is a bit stretched out because of my screen. Normally it wouldn't look like this. Some of the widget buttons are going to be kind of squished or moved around only because my screen is so wide. But moving along, I had a separate a separate level that held all of the options menus and the start option after that, like when you select the levels and all that. I brought all of that into the main menu level so that I could continue the video that's in the background and the music all together and transition it seamlessly instead of it being cut and then having to restart the video. So it kind of looks like this. So you can transition from start, it'll blur out, and this will still be available. You can switch back and forth, and the color is there as well. So this is that kind of distortion right there. Normally they'd be stacked on top of each other. Previous floor, and then main menu, it'll just go back, and then options, sound settings. So this is an example of that one task where I was told that maybe we should add a sound effect in order to dictate whether or not something is changing. That happens off of whenever you let go. So that happens with that. So from that menu, we can continue through onto the credits, and that continues on through the citations. Credits continued, back to main menu, and then from there I'll show the levels that I have. I need to go ahead and look in my notes. So that's level 12, 8, and 3. So I'll start off with level 3, and then I'll return back to the main menu to go to level 8 and then 12. So this is supposed to be my introduction. It's a little too close for me. Essentially, since all this is going to be a bit distorted, actually, let me see if maybe I could, no, so this is going to be in full screen. I'll show the pause menu before I explain my levels, since my screen is a little too wide for me to be able to see the game properly. So I edited the pause menu all the way through so that this image is here in the background consistently when you pass through like the options and controls, and you can go back, and so everything is there. So from there, I actually want to see if maybe I can. So that's probably another bug. All right. So there's the pause menu, and there's the win widget and the lost widget. I probably won't be able to show it here just because everything is so close. I'll try to get it done since like maybe I can remember the exact path. But this is supposed to be your introduction to the invisibility. So you press the R key, you should be able to pass. Without being seen. So it's supposed to be increasing in difficulty all the way up until your mastery of the ability. So you can use this in every level essentially. But these 3 levels are the example of how to use them. Get my turns back, and use my invisibility so I don't get caught. So there's that one. We snuck past the guard. There's about 3 guards in this level. I positioned them in such a way that you could probably easily make it through. This is the escape level widget. I got 2 stars. That is my teammates. But this is supposed to be the new widget for it. Going back to main menu, I'll play my next one. I think it's 3, 8, and 12. 8. Next zone. Okay. So the overall aesthetic of this one is a mansion. It's supposed to be similar to the Resident Evil 1 mansion. I won't exactly play through all of it since my vision is skewed and there are a ton of enemies in this level, and it requires for you to collect keys. So you need an expanded vision of the game, the field aspect or aspect ratio or field of view. So I'll go ahead and show you my final one. I'll go to the main menu. And I think my next one is level 12. So this is my lab level. This one's pretty easy in regards to the way that it's set up. There are a ton of things that you can do. There's 2 pathways for this level. This one is a widget that I put. Somehow you've made it into one of the deepest parts of the facility. Everything you've learned about your ability will be put to the test here. Security is on high alert. Utilize clues and the imperceptible ability to escape the facility. Good luck. So I purposefully put in 2 paths for this specific level, and I wanted it to be you could take the easy route, which takes a little bit more work but avoids the enemies, or you could go straight at the enemies and not look at any other aspect aside from well, I'm just gonna get through the enemies, get to the end of it. That's a longer path. This specific one has that one, and the second path is kind of a not a puzzle, but if you use your phone in real life, you could figure out the code, and I'll give an example of that here. All the passwords on this sub level are the same, even the doors, but sometimes I have a hard time remembering my password, but I need to make it only so that a nerd like me would know. So this is for my future self. What is the year Spider-Man issue 1 released? So the answer is 1962. If you take that same question, you put it online, it'll give you the answer. But I thought it was a clever little way to find out the password. Something for the player to look into. And this whole room is supposed to be like an office space or something like that. That one of the scientists kind of had a computer and needed to figure out the passcode. He forgets here and there, so he wrote down that little kind of passage. So this is the easy route, and I'll give a quick walkthrough of that. So he passes through 1962. That's it. for whatever reason, this widget is still here. Let's see again if we can input that. 1962. Okay, there we go. For whatever reason, it refused to remove itself from the screen. Okay, and this is the end of the level. Over here on the left side, I'll show what it would look like, even though I might die because I can't see the pattern. See where the enemy is on the pattern that they're walking, because I purposefully put the enemy walking on a figure 8, so you can see him here. He's probably making his rotation around that. So I should. Ooh, I almost got caught. Being pursued now, and I cannot see the other player. Oh my god, they're right there. So I can enter an event right here, and then make my way around. Let's see if I can work my way around these guys without getting caught. So this is the hard path that you could take. That vent is supposed to help out, because without it, it would be super difficult. So this is supposed to build into the lore of the game. There's a bunch of test tubes or cloning tubes, and you're one of the cryptids that was in one of those testing tubes or cloning tubes. But I thought it fit the aesthetic of the level overall. But I'm gonna go ahead and quit to the main menu. Overall, those were my tasks. There were a couple things that I wanted to do. I wanted to add a load screen before you transition into the next level. And I wanted to have a save game option for the player in order for them to save their progress. If they were to leave, they could have a maybe continue button that pops up on top of start, or something that allows them to continue their progress regardless of leaving the game or having to do something. But those are just ideas, and that can be implemented into the next sprint. But yeah, with that being said, thank you for watching this. Bye.
Hello, my name is Antonio Martinez, and I am part of Team AFK Games, as you can see here. And I am here to show you version 0.33 of our game Cryptid. This is Sprint 5, also known as Sprint Ball for balance. For this sprint, I was tasked with creating 3 levels, fixing 2 bugs, and enhancing certain mechanics. To show you the first level I've made, it's level 1. And as you can see here, a widget pops up explaining to the player how to play. Close that real quick, and we're gonna Alt Tab over. And as you can see, here's the Jira task I had to create this level. The task is create AI base introduction level. As a player, I want a level where I'm introduced to the enemy AI and all of its complexities, so I can feel more comfortable encountering enemies later in the game. The start of the level will force the player to cross the path of a hunter separated by a line of walls. Once the player wraps around the tree line, the player will have to confront the enemy in a narrow hallway. The next area should be a big area where the player can observe the natural patrol patterns of the AI from relative safety. The entire level should have some collectibles and heal items to encourage exploration. Put 1 key door for the player to solve to have something to do in the level, And once the player has comfortably maneuvered around the area and explored, the player will have to move through a purple door to the next area. And the design philosophies are: the level will serve as an introduction to the enemy AI, the level should not be too difficult, and mastery is spread throughout all the levels, so this is only an introduction. And this level should be an outside level and use outside theme resources. Going back to the level I created, if we proceed forward, a couple more widgets are going to explain to us how to play. This one shows the player how to end their turn. This one shows the player how to not only unlock their camera, but also rotate their camera and reset the camera, which comes down to the next task I was assigned, which was to add camera rotation. Give the player the option to rotate the camera so the player can see around the walls and what is near them. As a player, I would like to be able to rotate the camera to get a better understanding of the environment around me. The completion criteria was to give the player the ability to rotate the camera left, to give the player the ability to rotate the camera right, and to give the player the ability to recenter the camera to the default position. Coming back here, as you can see, we can rotate it left. I'm going to keep moving. We can rotate it right. Let me just end my turn real quick. And we can recenter it. And as you see, once it's recentered, pressing C again will not make a difference. This is another pop-up to explain the pickups. Now, going to the outside camera, you can use it to pan around and look around. But, like I said, if you hit Z, you can rotate left. If you hit X, you can rotate right. And if you hit C, you can recenter it. Ending my turn, we're going to move up a little bit more now. This explains how to use the lockers. This explains the key cards. And this explains the QTE mechanics. Coming around this tree line, we're going to run into our first enemy soon enough. He's in the far back. I wanted to make sure that he wouldn't be right on top of the player as to not make it too difficult. If the player moves up, instead of trying to hide, he'll turn around and try to go for them. And as you see there, that is his weapon, which was the third task I was assigned. For this task, I had to create a weapon for the AI. Summary is: create a weapon for the AI and update the animation for it to properly affect the player. As a player, I would like the enemy to have AI to have a weapon and 2 different animations for when I'm attacked so I can properly tell when I am and when I'm not hit by the AI. Create a weapon mesh for the enemy. Create an animation to show the player swinging at the player when the player misses the QTE and when the player succeeds the QTE. Coming here, you saw the one already where when the player passes the QTE, this is the animation for when the player fails the QTE, sorry. First one was when he passes the QTE, the second was when he fails the QTE. Now, coming back into the level, we're just going to speed through here real quick. Like I said, otherwise the player should not be getting killed within this level because it is just an introduction. It's not that difficult, but I wanted to make it so that the player still could if they made a mistake. So, coming around here, I'm gonna grab the key one last time. He still got me, but I made it. We'll grab this power up to come heal me. I put an excess of power ups. Oh, and this explains how to use stun rocks. I put an excess of power ups to make sure it was easy enough for the player to move through it. Stun him real quick. And like that, he'll go back to normal. But I already have the key. This is that big area I had mentioned, giving the player the ability to watch as the AI moves around. Going back to the player, we're just going to get out of here real quick. This one's a little bit more of a narrow hallway to give the player a challenge, but still not too much of a challenge, as you can see. And then we'll go back to the main menu. And that was the first level I created. The second level I created was an introduction to the trap mechanics. As you come into here, we'll go over here and we'll look at the new task, create trap level. As a player, I want a level where I'm introduced to the various trap mechanics and all of their complexities so I can feel more comfortable encountering traps later in the game. Very similar to the AI level. The level design was the start of the level will show the player a series of more active traps behind a tree line. Basically, the player will be safe in the start. Once the player passes around the tree line, the player will be introduced to each trap in a series of hallway-like areas. The first area will be sticky traps. The second area will be floor spikes. The third will be auto spikes. The fourth will be shoot tiles. And the fifth will be pitfalls. In each scenario, as long as it is not lethal, the player will usually be forced to either pass over or pass by one. The level will serve as an introduction to traps. The level should not be too difficult. The traps should be introduced in order of danger to the player, as I mentioned the order before. This should be an outside level and use outside theme resources like the previous level because they are connected. And this level should come after the AI level, but before the vent level, which is my third level. Coming over here, and I will show you that task after. Coming over here, we can see it'll give a tutorial pop-up for each of the different traps to explain how it affects the player. There we go. See that it reduced my movement. Coming around here, these spikes hurt my feet. I should avoid these. I believe the AI is, yep, he's getting stunned over there. As you can see, they tick my feet. But he is moving perfectly fine. This is an explanation of how to do the Simon Says puzzles. Let me see this. Ah, okay. Coming around here. Red, red, yellow. We're gonna hit red, red, and then we come around. And we hit yellow. Then we go back to the start button again. Red, green, green, green. So we come over here, hit red, come back around, hit green, green, green. As you can see, it worked. And if we solve this one more time, we should be fine. Come back around, red, green, blue, green, blue. So red, green, blue, green, and one more. Should be blue. Yay! Now we come back around. And the door is open. This level also shows how the AI can get stunned by the traps. And it's also expressed within this widget right here. I will probably be getting hit by one of these very soon. Yes, I'm going to end my turn here. Okay. We're just going to go right here. I'm going to end my turn once more. Now, to show you that these work, there you go. And now we're just going to come back out. This widget explains the shoot tiles. The previous one was the auto spikes, if I didn't mention that. This is easy as long as you don't end your turn in front of them. And if you do, though, you'll get shot. As you come through here, it'll explain the pitfalls. And we're going to go over that. If you pass over the pit and you fail the QTE, you die. If you succeed, you're fine. And then we go right here. Alright. Now, we're going to return to the main menu. And I'm going to introduce you to the vent level. Coming over here, we go to level 5. And this is the vent level. Coming in over here. We're going to discuss the vent level task. My apologies. As a player, I want a level where I'm introduced to the vent mechanic and all of its complexities so I can feel more comfortable using vents later in the game. Very similar to the previous other task, level task. The start of the level will force the player to cross under the path of a hunter through a vent, but prevent the AI from reaching the player. Once the player leaves the area through a doorway, they will enter a square area with guards and minimal traps around the area. The emphasis should be on the vents. The square main area should have at least 2 vents, which you can use to travel in and out of these rooms. There should be vent tiles in the corner of the main room. The entire level should have collectible and heal items to encourage exploration. And there should be at least 1 key door. And once the player has comfortably maneuvered and explored the area, they will escape out the main staircase. If not, we will use the purple doors, which we did do. We actually ended up using both. The design philosophies is that this is an introduction to venting. The level should not be too difficult. The mastery is spread out through all levels. And this one's an inside level that should use inside theme resources. Coming into here, we can actually see the last of the widgets I created to teach the player how to use vents. And we can talk about the 2 bugs that I fixed as we progress through this level. One of the bugs was that the QTEs for the pitfall and the AI were overlapping. As of right now, that does not currently happen, so I'm not exactly sure how I will demonstrate it. But the other one is that the AIs were jumping over the pitfalls even when the pits weren't destroyed. And as you will see in a second, they will not be doing that. Let me end my turn here. There you go. He walked right over the pit, as you can see. And I will show you these tasks in 1 second. I'm just trying to see if I can demonstrate the other scenario where the bug was happening. The QTE bug. Perfect. So now if I move over here and then move into this, you can see I get the pitfall QTE first, and then the enemy QTE. And I'm going to move myself to safety before I Alt-Tab and switch over to these tasks. Enemies jump over pits when the pit is not destroyed. As you can see, enemies do not do that anymore. That is self-explanatory there. As well as the QTE overlapping. That is a bug that is no longer happening. And finally, one thing I would like to show in the build is when you go into these vents here, the floor vents, you can teleport using an array. Previously, these were only connected to one vent each, and therefore you were just stuck. Well, not stuck, but you only had limited options of where you could go. Now, the usage of these kinds of vents can be a little bit more dynamic. We'll show that's the first set of vents over there. We have another set that are connected on their own grid. And let me come out here. As you can see in that room over there, those are different vents. Can I get in here? Yes, I can. Fantastic. Come over here, grab the key, go back in, come over here. And with all the key cards collected, we can come over through here and come out the door. All right. And with that, that is all 3 levels that I created. Coming back to Jira over here. Those are all the tasks that are demonstratable in this build. The final one that I did do on this sprint was I removed similar / incomplete levels, and I also improved other levels. So we organized our files right here, as you can see. And this is a level that may be coming in next sprint. And now with this, to create the AI base introduction level took me 6.5 hours. With different level design aspects here. This is how it was originally. Here's how it grew. A lot of that time could be set to bugs and neighbors. Camera rotation took me 3.5 hours. The creating the weapon for the AI, and there's actually 3 different weapons at the moment, took me 4.5 hours. The trap level took me 4 hours to create. Here is the, oh, please. There we go. Here's the original design before all the extra stuff was added. And here's closer to the final design, as you've seen before. The vent level took me 4 hours and 45 minutes. I originally had to create this level twice because it was built upside down. And you can see the different stages it went through. The first bug, where the enemies were jumping over pits when they weren't destroyed, only took me 30 minutes to resolve. The overlapping QTEs took longer to resolve because they were a little bit of a rare bug that didn't happen too often. They took me 2 hours and 20 minutes. And it was all with this branch right here that ended up like really being able to get me to push forward through it. The array events took me 6 hours to create because of the tile system. And here's to show some of the code that I changed to get it to work instead of using the old tile system of just saving one tile. And finally, as I've shown you before, here's the remove similar and incomplete levels. This took me 50 minutes, and this is for a grand total of 32 hours and 50 minutes. Thank you for your time.